Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Lock Shop. Nielsen and Hustler back with you once again. We are clearly presented to you by Coolbet. You can hop online, coolbet.com, sign up for an account, and you'll get a 100% deposit bonus on initial deposit up to $200 to bet on some hockey. We got some NBA. We always got golf we can bet on. CFL's just months away, but we are in post-Super Bowl breakdown here on The Lock Shop today. And Huss, first of all, congratulations. You did have the Bengals plus the 4 points. You win our contest. I owe you $50. Great. It was a fun game to watch. Ended up being a pretty decent day for me betting wise. We had a heartbreaker on the parlay, like heartbreaker on the parlay. Lots to break down from this game, buddy.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, it was, we sort of laid it out. I mean, I thought there'd be some more points. It was a pretty pedestrian game offensively, which was interesting. And shout out to the Bengals. I mean, the way they stopped the run game of the Rams was, I think, maybe the biggest surprise, and the stubbornness of McVay to continue running the football without any success, I thought was a big reason why this game was so close. But in the end, I know Cooper Kupp won the MVP. Aaron Donald was the MVP. I mean, he took over that game in the fourth quarter. When the game was on the line, he made the play. And you know what? Credit to the Rams. They got it done. Just a weird... I mean, when you think about the Rams season, the ups and downs that they had, even in the playoffs, I mean, week 18, the Tampa game, the Niner game, they ended up getting it done. And listen, Sean McVay deserves a lot of credit, which he has always received. Now he's actually, I think, got the win to back it up. And what that team looks like going forward is going to be fascinating. I mean, we do expect Kevin O'Connor to be named the head coach of the Vikings. Some questions that Aaron Donald might actually retire afterwards, which seems insane considering the level that he's playing at. But I guess we'll find out. And some rumors that McVay, who's the youngest coach around, is getting married and might actually step away to the broadcast booth. And tell you what, that wouldn't be a bad move for him. The lifestyle would be a hell of a lot better. He'd probably make more money than he would be as a coach. He would be like a Romo type protege. But overall, it was a fun game. The halftime show was an all-timer. I mean, it was a fun Sunday and a great way to finish up the season. And hey, we both finished 10-3 against the spread in the playoffs. So tip of the cap to you and Barry Horowitz to myself. A great, great playoff run for the Lock Shop.
We saved our best for the time that it mattered the most in the postseason, and that's what we got it done. You, Chaz, watching on the live stream, says, other than the parlay, which he was in on with us, my bad beat was Van Jefferson over 33.5 yards. He finished with 33. That one stings a little bit.
How good are these bookmakers? I mean, how these guys create these lines right there? But yes, for the parlay, and shout out to everyone. We talked about it extensively yesterday on Winnipeg Sports Talk. That was as heartbreaking an L. And I mean, we aren't talking about like a plus 250 parlay. This was 11-1. Yeah. I mean, the Jamar Chase pick that I had cashed, it was over 6.5. That was first drive or second drive for the Bengals. We had that, the kicking, Matt Gay missed an extra point, didn't do a field goal. The Bengals did. So we had a nice cushion for McPherson. And then it was all about Kupp. And we were sort of waiting. And of course, Higgins had that crazy play. And we will lament the fact that we lost by 1 yard to a guy that had 75 yards of bogus.
Yeah, I know.
Listen, I mean, that's the way that it is. And on that final drive, I mean, everyone that was with us on the parlay was looking at the numbers. Okay, what does Kupp need? Kupp again. I mean, it was pretty wild the way they just leaned on him. And that's why he was the MVP. With the game on the line, he was the guy that was getting the football on pretty much every play. And I seem to remember the Cam Akers just had too many yards, and we it just didn't work out. But we missed it by like 2 yards. That was a heartbreaker. But again, we finished strong with the partner parlay as well. We're going to have to figure out a way to occupy ourselves over the next little while with maybe some sort of hockey partner parlays. We'll get Chris in there on that. But overall, what an awesome year. Certainly from everyone that's been joining us on the Lock Shop. we both had great years when it came to making the picks. Awesome playoffs, which is where it most matters, because you're usually either building on a great season or chasing the regular season. So you better get it done in the playoffs. Did so far. And as I said, fun game, great way to end the year. And now we wait. Free agency coming up. The draft is always good. How many days till CFL kickoff, man? I need football in my life.
Oh, boy. Well, we can start betting on preseason CFL in May. And it's almost March, and then there's only April, and then it's May. So we're not far off. The Cooper Kupp thing, we had it. When he scored that touchdown from 8 yards out, I was just like, that's it. We covered it. And then the dual penalties, and they had to do it over. And then there was the flag that took it down to the 1, and then they threw it to him, and we ended up being 2 yards short on that one. I had a few buddies who were on that one. They texted me. They're like, oh, buddy, we got hosed. I was like, yes, we did. Quick look ahead, though. Opening lines. Well, not really open lines. We've already seen some movement. The Chiefs opened as the favorite at Coolbet, and as of this morning, the Buffalo Bills 8-1 plus 800. Kansas City Chiefs plus 850. You got the Rams to go back to back at 11-1. The Packers, assuming Aaron Rodgers stays, 14-1. Dallas Cowboys probably slightly too high because it's the Cowboys at 14-1. And then the Niners at 14-1 and the Bengals at 18-1. What do you think here on the early line, Sus?
Well, the first thing I'll say is once again, Coolbet comes out with some great value on these numbers. I mean, I saw a number of books release numbers after the Super Bowl, and I saw a number of books. The most common thing that I saw was the Bills and Chiefs were tied as the favorite, but at plus 750. So, I mean, you're getting a better number on both of those teams right now at Coolbet. 8-1 on the Bills, plus 850 on the Chiefs. And I mean, even the Bengals on most books were about 14-1. So I'm not sure whether this has moved significantly from the way it opened, but right now, Coolbet continues to be very, very competitive. And the reason why I started betting there before we even got going, and I even knew Chris, was the fact that, more often than not, comparing the other books, we were getting a better number at Coolbet. So sticking around with that. I might just jump on the 850 right now. My guys are going to get back into it. It was a tough week. I mean, I'd really made peace with it by about Wednesday of Super Bowl week. I was glad, as much as I missed being on Radio Row and being down there, it was sort of good not to be around that all. But now on to the next season. Free agency is going to be really interesting. I love the NFL draft. We will be able to bet on the NFL draft. That is always an interesting one on the props as to where guys go. Interesting draft class this year too, because not a lot of big quarterback talent. So what that does to the team up at the top, the teams up at the top that are QB needy, will be interesting. But overall, a great season. And yes, we can already start putting down some markers for the Super Bowl in 363 days or whatever it is.
Nielsen and Hustler with you. The Lock Shop is brought to you by Coolbet. If you have not yet subscribed to the podcast, make sure you do that so you never miss an episode. Just search the Lock Shop on all your podcasting platforms. We got some NHL hockey we're going to get to. We got the Genesis Invitational we're going to get to. But before we get to the men, let's get to the women. Canada, U.S., Huss. Let's go there first because I saw your pick come in an email. I said, well, it's the only play. I don't have a board for it here, but there's certainly a discussion to be had. It's Canada and the U.S. for gold. Canada's a pretty significant favorite compared to what we usually would see here. The U.S. had over 50 shots against Canada in that round robin game, so I'm 100% got your back on this. What's the play?
This is the now, I mean, it's hard for this sort of a bet to call it a lock, but to give you the odds right now, and listen, I think the majority of this money, I mean, Coolbet's operating in Canada, not in the United States, so figure it out. Or they're taking way more action on Canada than the other way, and I think the odds show that. For the regulation numbers right now, it's Canada minus 154, USA plus 315, and a draw at plus 350. I'm sure as hell not betting the Americans, although they could absolutely win this game. But Dusty, championship games between Canada and U.S. and women's hockey, we know what happens. It always goes to overtime. Plus 350 on the draw. The draw should be minus 154.
Yes.
And the other team should be plus 350 in regulation. So to be getting more than 3.5-1 on our money for a game to go the distance, 60 minutes. I have not felt this good about a plus 350 wager in a long, long time. So we'll be backing it up. And then I would just like to know, can we just get a prop right now? Will Marie-Philippe Poulin score the OT winner? Give us a number on that too, because I'll be backing that up. She's the king. That first game was so good between these teams. Oh. But again, I think a lot of people didn't watch it, and they sort of thought that Canada ran all over them. That was certainly not the case. I mean, the U.S. are a legitimate team. These teams are so close. Listen, obviously one of the teams could win in 60 minutes. But they seem to always save the best for last, and the excitement and the tension in these games has been so big. I'm fully expecting overtime. So the draw plus 350. Let's get it. And then Canadian women, get her done in OT. MPP, the captain. I think she does it again.
That should straight up be an option right there on Coolbet. Not even whether, just will she score the overtime winner? That's it. Or even just if you want to go the gold medal clinching goal. No matter when it happens. I mean, I would love to see, I don't know how you set those odds, but I would love to see it because she is as clutch as they come in the history of the game.
You know what? We're going to have to tell our boys, Chris Abbott and Pat Gregoire and JBM over at Coolbet to maybe pop up something tomorrow on their socials. Because if I do recall correctly, and I'm trying to think what this was, maybe it was in that challenge series between the two teams when they were playing earlier this year. But Marie-Philippe Poulin scored in overtime one night, and then they put out odds 9-1. Will Marie-Philippe Poulin score in overtime again? And she did it. So, only did they get to OT, but they did it again. So, listen, it didn't take me long to figure out where I was going on this. I mean, listen, if Canada had a much better number, maybe just for fun, I would have bet Canada. Still certainly hope they're going to win. But the draw is the number. And dude, the money line number on this game is Canada minus 278 and USA plus 190. I'm here to tell you right now, that's completely out of whack. These two teams are too close and too good to have that big of a discrepancy. But, it just goes down to, books are not into having 95% of the money on one side, and having all that risk. So you got to hold your nose a little bit if you just want to bet Canada to win. I'm going with the draw, and then we'll be jumping on maybe a live number for Marie-Philippe Poulin to get it done in overtime.
We got NHL action tonight that we're going to get to. We each got 3 games for you, and I'll whip through mine here. Mine's going to be a parlay. I'm not going to bet a few of these numbers just on their own, so I'm going to parlay it all together. It's going to be plus 321. I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Lightning in regulation, minus 182. At the New Jersey Devils. You've got Calgary, Columbus on your ticket tonight as well. I'm going to go Calgary in regulation for the parlay at minus 192. I love that Tyler Toffoli pickup. Nice move from the Calgary Flames. Noticing, where the division is at right now. We'll see what Vegas is once they get Eichel in there rolling. But I like the idea by Calgary to go out and pick up Toffoli. Their top 9 right now, their top 3 lines are really good. So Calgary in regulation minus 192. And then I don't care when it is. Philly, Pittsburgh over. Flyers, Penguins over. That's it, and it's only at 6 right now. I'll probably end up buying it up to 6.5 because I think you can do that, and I'll take the over there. So I'm going to go Tampa regulation, Philly, Pittsburgh over 6, Calgary in regulation, and it's not going to be like a plus 600 number, but it's still not bad at plus 321. So those are my sprinkles for Tuesday night in the NHL.
Yeah, you know what? And by the way, nice win by the Oilers last night. I heard you guys all fired up on the show today. An actual shutout for Stewie Skins. Jet fans remember Skinner, the principal. He's back. And listen, that's a big win. I was thinking about jumping on the Kings tonight. And last night, the number was minus 132 for LA. Now it's minus 111. I think a lot of people are pretty high on Edmonton after that win last night. New coach bump right now. And again, we'll be able to talk about this on Friday's episode, but big game here in the Peg between the Jets and Oilers coming up on Saturday afternoon, which will be an interesting one. Jets blew it last night. Just a great start coming out of the gate. Wins over Minnesota and Nashville, a point in Dallas, and then you lose at home to Chicago. Sort of been the story of Winnipeg so far this season. But on to tonight, I got 3 picks. I saw the Dallas Stars on Friday against Winnipeg. And Dallas has been such a streaky team. They've gone on nice little runs. They've also lost 7 or 8 in a row at sometimes this year. And, Tyler Seguin and Jamie Benn seem to always kill the Jets, but not many other teams. And they're going into an absolute buzzsaw against the Colorado Avalanche. You continue to flex on the rest of the Western Conference. I'm going to jump on this on the puck line. Colorado by 2, -109. And I'll do the same thing for the Calgary Flames at home to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, the Blue Jackets, by the way, our guy Patrick Laine, I know there's a ton of Lock Shop listeners that jumped on the preseason prop over 18.5, over 19.5. Had a slow start, missed all that time. It sort of looked like, maybe he wouldn't get it. Well, he has been on fire right now. I think he's got 7 goals in his last 5 games, something like that. He's up to 13 right now. So hopefully the Finnish Prince can keep things going. That being said, I love the Flames right now. And I know we talked about it at the All-Star break. And I went on Mean Streets with Chris Meany on Game Plus Network last week at the break and talked about, futures and the best value futures and, gave out the Calgary Flames as a team that has elite goaltending right now, a coach that's absolutely got his team to buy in, guy that knows what it takes to win in the playoffs. And that's exactly where the Flames are right now. They were at the time 23-1. I've seen them as high as 25-1 over the past week or so. But I'll tell you what, I think when we get the updated Stanley Cup odds at Coolbet over the next few days, we're going to see Calgary tumble from that 23 because I think they've already opened up a number of eyes around the league. And this addition to Tyler Toffoli is going to make them that much more formidable going in. And listen, I know it's all about the Avalanche and, Vegas right now. Don't sleep on the Calgary Flames. This has been one of the great turnarounds in the National Hockey League last year after that dud of a season they had, and they are looking good. So I'm going to lay the puck line on the Flames as well at -1.5. And then I'm going to go with the Rangers against the Bruins. The Rangers, for whatever reason, have been sort of criminally underrated at times this year against better teams, against top teams in the East. They've got a much better record than the Boston Bruins. They've been more consistent than the Boston Bruins all season, and they got them home. And again, still some major injuries, and of course, Brad Marchand's suspension. So the Rangers at -143, just a straight money line bet. And I think I'll pop those in together and just slightly under 5-1 now that this Calgary number's gone down. It's now -123 on the Calgary Flames puck line. But whatever, plus 491. I don't mind that. Let's cash a couple tickets tonight, Dusty, here on the Lock Shop.
I brought up my futures bets, NHL, when you mentioned Laine, because I thought I was on Laine. I got 4 that I'm officially on at Coolbet. I got Jacob Chychrun, under 19.5 goals. He's got 2. So
that line, we talked about that. I think I'm on that one, too. That one just made no sense.
Insane. I'm on Taylor Hall, over 43.5 points. He's already at 31, I think. So I like him to get 13 more points. I got Tara Vinen over 44.5. He's at 36 already. So that's going to hit. And then I do have Jesse Puljujarvi over 15.5 goals. And he just buried his 11th, I believe. So that one should hit as well. So I feel pretty good about that Chychrun bet. I'll never understand that for the life of me. 19.5. Come on. God, that was easy money. I was doing a hockey draft that day, and I got like all 8 of us to bet on it. We're going to just hammer Coolbet when the season ends there.
I mean, the thing that was so bizarre about it all is that like Jacob Chychrun and Patrick Laine had the same over-under goal total for the season. I mean, anyways, it made absolutely no sense. I got Dougie Hamilton assists under 45.5. Quinn Hughes actually is going to be pushing this one under 64.5 points for the regular season. That could be tight. And then a couple of Laines. I think I forgot I made the first big one and I did another one later on. So heavily invested in Patrick Laine. And then let's just say we're not going to talk about the Jets props right now because those need a major rebound in the second half of the season, starting with a huge game tomorrow against the Minnesota Wild here in the Peg.
All right, let's transition over to a little bit of golf where we have been sniffing all around it last 3 weeks. Hell, even Keith Mitchell gave me a glimmer of hope for a little bit over the weekend. And you had a couple of guys that were tied for the lead early Sunday, wasn't it? Was it early Sunday that Koepka and Xander were right in there? Or was that Saturday we were talking?
Yeah, well, Saturday, they were tied for the lead.
Yeah, Saturday.
But even in Sunday, I think they started one shot off. Sahith Trigala, what a great run he had. That's an exciting young player. It kind of came out of nowhere and going toe-to-toe with Cantlay and Koepka and Scheffler and Xander Schauffele was something else. He hit that one into the water on, was it 17? That was really unfortunate. That sort of changed his fate. And yeah, it was real disappointing. I mean, Brooks and Xander were right there, both at really good numbers with the field. And once again, the third straight week I should just start betting my guys top 5 because all of my picks, I would have had winners the last 3 weeks. But we're you don't hit a homer, Dusty, if you don't swing for the fences, right? So we've been going that way. Anyways,
with that being said, if you are watching the Lock Shop, bet all of our guys to be top 5 or 10. You're going to make money.
Exactly. So let's get to it. Genesis, the Riv, Max Homa, the hometown boy, defending champions, city of champions now with the LA Rams winning the title. This is always a great tournament, and oh my God, do they have an amazing field this week. I want to say, I think just about the entire top 10 in the official World Golf Rankings are there. Rahm, Cantlay, DJ, Thomas, Morikawa, McIlroy, Vic Hovland, Hideki, Xander Schauffele, Cam Smith, Scheffler coming off his first win. Zalatoris is there. So this is going to be great. Now, I've been on Brooks a lot these days. I am not going to roll with Brooks this week. I'm going to take a week off. I do think he's winning sometime soon, though. I got to start off with the 18-1 on Dustin Johnson. DJ is a player that we've seen can take some time off, can just show up, rises to the occasion against the best fields, has had some good success at the Genesis, at Riviera in the past. He's a former winner, I want to say 2017. So a number like 18-1 on DJ, just about anywhere, is attractive to me. And you know what? He's been seeing a lot of other guys cash a bunch of checks lately. I think he goes out and certainly contends, and he's always capable of winning a tournament. The other guy that we haven't seen very much that, this is a straight value play is Colin Morikawa. I mean, this guy is number 2 or number 3 in the official World Golf Rankings. And for whatever reason, despite all the tournaments that he's won, how consistent he is, the majors that he's pulled off, the way he's been able to stare down the top players in the world in his previous wins, he's still 20-1 in this tournament. So listen, those numbers jumped out at me right away. Again, there's good numbers on a lot of players because of how strong the field is. But I'm going to go with Colin Morikawa to continue being one of the top players of the world. And frankly, if you can win this tournament and, you can make a push for the number 1 spot in the world. The other pick, usually I'll go a little longer off the board, but Bubba Watson at 39-1 is a fascinating pick. Bubba is Mr. Riv. He has 3 wins in this tournament before at Riviera. And sometimes it doesn't even matter if he's playing well or not. He'll show up at this tournament and just turn into the green jacket winner and dominate. He was great at the Waste Management. We didn't see a lot of him on TV because he was a little further back, so we didn't end up on television very much. But Bubba finished in a tie for 11, had a great weekend, is playing some good golf. So the fact that he was good on the weekend, he's going into a place that he has been, well, frankly, had his greatest successes. I mean, obviously his Masters wins are Masters wins, but other than that, on the tour, he's won at Riviera 3 times before. So with the form that Bubba's coming into this tournament and getting it at almost 40-1, Bubba was an auto bet for me. So that was a little bit of the longer number, the lower picks, DJ and Colin Morikawa. That's where I'm going with my 3 selections for the Genesis Invitational.
I'm already in on Bubba. And when I saw you come in with him, I was just like, okay, Huss has got Bubba. So I was already, I bet on him already, but I'm with you. I'm glad you laid it out. He decided to step back, let him with that. I'll hit on 3 other guys here. Patrick Cantlay. My goodness. I mean, he hasn't won yet this year, but I'm not sure anybody has been playing better than Patrick Cantlay. And he's at 13 right now, 13-1. And you mentioned such a strong field. That's why you're going to look at it and go, man, I'm getting plus 1,300 on Cantlay. Well, that's because all the best players in the world are there. But so far this year, he finished 4th at the Century. He finished 9th at the American Express. He finished 4th at Pebble. And then obviously lost last week in a playoff. In those 12 rounds so far this year, in which he's already made $1.9 million, it's mid-February. In those 4 rounds, or in those 4 events, 12 rounds, he's only shot in the 70s twice. Everything else has been sub-70s. He's just been playing so well. He's going to hit at some point here. So I'm on Cantlay 13-1. He's been top 10 every single time he's played so far in 2022. I'm going to be on Rory Mcilroy, and it's once again, when I saw all these odds, I'm like, man, these are so good, the numbers. But as you explained, I mean, there's just so many solid players here.
This is like a major. This field is basically like a major.
That's what these odds are looking like. This is Rory's first time in the U.S. since winning the CJ Cup 4 months ago. But he has had 2 top 5s at Riv since 2019. So there's a guy who plays the course extremely well. We haven't seen him in a little bit over here. Looking forward to seeing that. I don't think it's a stretch of the imagination to see him come in here and win this event. And then Xander played so well last week. And at this event, 4 times, 4 top 25s, finished top 10th once. Last week, he led the field in greens in regulation. He led the field in strokes gained, tee to green. I mean, he's playing extremely well. He's had success here again. I very confidently believe we've got a winner somewhere at the Genesis on our card this week. Like, it's probably like Cantlay, the guy's straight fire from start to finish so far this year. So maybe this is the one, Huss.
Scheffler was due. By the way, can we just quickly talk about the hole-in-one at the Waste Management?
Oh my God.
Okay, last week I told you, anyone that hadn't been there, this is a freaking kegger that happens to have some golf intermittently mixed in. That scene when Ryder dropped the ace on 16 was what's the over under a number of beers that were thrown on the course? 1,000? 1,500?
I was going to say 2,000. Like, that was insane.
And those are all like
that was insane.
$18 beers too.
Well, yeah, I looked at that. I think, wasn't it? Craft beer was $19. Regular beer is $18 or something like that. That's American. So for us to go down there, it's $25 a beer.
There's basically $500,000 worth of swill thrown on the 16th hole at the Waste Management. And the funny thing is, too, they were talking about it, how Saturday is the day there. Like, they had 200,000 people there at the course on Saturday. Sunday was like 90. Which is still a big, like, there's nothing like that Saturday at the Waste Management. So, again, Super Bowl in Arizona next year. I'm telling you right now, we got to start getting the wheels.
That's not a bad idea, buddy. We get a travel company on board and have some people come down with us.
It's the best idea, my friend. Like, got to do that. Get the Nielsen show and WST on the row for a week. Be perfect.
That would be fun, actually. Sprinkle in a few lock shops and then just get messy on the weekend. I love that idea. I can see myself taking $50 worth of beer and smashing them together like Stone Cold and then just pouring them on my face.
Well, the funniest thing is you can try to get as messy as you want, and it'll be like a 2 on the Waste Management scale of being out of hand. I mean, it still looks like good, upstanding people, and I'm all about that.
Quite the scene, man.
By the way, breaking news here, and I'm not sure when this happened, and I just inadvertently stumbled into this, but I've got my hockey picks up in the Coolbet in the margin of the Coolbet site, and then I just went and clicked on Bubba, and I now realize, and you couldn't do this last year, you can now parlay golf futures with other sports. So, for instance, I just inadvertently put Bubba as well as my 3 hockey picks for tonight, and it comes out to plus 23,529. So, just say I wanted to put $5 on that, that would pay 1,176. So sometimes, and Feinberg's the master of this. Now, sometimes successfully, sometimes not. But say you really like a guy to win. But he's really chalky. Like John Rahm, a couple of these events has been like 7-1.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I don't really want to do that. Well, we could always throw the Avalanche puck line on and, maybe the Milwaukee Bucks. And all of a sudden that 7-1 turns into 20-1. Now, it could be done before he even hits a tee shot as well. So there always is risk involved. But that's a big development. Chase it anyway. Yeah, that is a big development that we can now parlay golf futures with other games. Oh, this is great news.
It's going to be good. Winnipeg Sports Talk today. What do you got coming up, Huss?
Well, we're gonna recap some of last night's home L to the Chicago Blackhawks. Look ahead to tomorrow against the Minnesota Wild. Huge game, and a game I can't wait for because it got nasty last week in the first game out of the break, and the Wild are coming here with a serious chip on their shoulder after what happened last week. So we'll get into that. Mike McIntyre from the Free Press will have an extended Jets coverage. We're also going to have Connor McClellan from the CHL's #1 team, the Winnipeg Ice, stop by, and we're just about ready for the Brier. Olympic curling's getting into full force. My guy, Reed Carruthers, shout out to Team McEwen. They just won Manitoba on the weekend, so they're going back to the Brier. He's going to pop by. We're going to talk a little bit about the win on the weekend and get Reed's thoughts and maybe some betting tips on the remaining games over at the Olympic curling competition. Brad Gushu looks pretty good to be in the playoffs, but a couple things need to happen or just beats Great Britain. And obviously the latest on Jennifer Jones. So, yeah, we're going to hit all the bases, kind of moving away. I know Greg Ellingson's coming on tomorrow. Looking forward to having him on the program. We'll kind of intermittently do some football talk, but it's probably be pretty heavy hockey and winter sports for the next week or two. And then, of course, we'll have NFL free agency and still continuing to love to have some of the new Bombers on the program as well.
It should be a good one. As always, you can find them Winnipeg Sports Talk, the podcast, and of course, subscribe on YouTube as well. We're going to be back with another episode of The Lock Shop on Friday. We set up, that's a big Oilers-Jets episode. We'll give you a bunch of bets for the Oilers and Jets. Yeah, that'll be a good one. I'm looking forward. That's a huge game for both teams. Oh.
We might need to get you on WST on Friday after we finish up The Lock Shop.
Pop by for a little visit. Time. Yeah, see what we can do. All right, man, that's going to do it for another episode of Lock Shop. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching or downloading. We do appreciate it. If you've not yet signed up for an account at CoolBet, you got to do that right away. Just enter the bonus code LOCKSHOP, and whatever you deposit up to $200 will be doubled, courtesy of the Lock Shop and CoolBet. Huss, have a good week, buddy. We will chat with you on Friday, man.
Right on, boss.